The fact that you're even watching this video probably suggests that you are surfing one of the more conservative video collections, and that would suggest that you are, like me, not real happy about what's happening to our country. Most of us are aware that things are getting worse. They're getting worse fast. The collapse of America is getting closer by the day. I'm personally convinced that if we continue on our present fragmented approach to dealing with the problem, we're going to lose. A couple of years back, the state of Washington suddenly passed legislation that made it a felony crime to play poker online. 100,000 poker players signed a petition, and it had no effect whatsoever. That petition wasn't even a ripple in the ocean. There was no vote of the people, no public debate, just an arbitrary new law. If your reaction is, so what, gambling's bad, then you simply don't get it. It isn't about whether gambling's good or bad. It's about the proper role of government. A few politicians got together and they decided that you and I could no longer do something that we had been doing in our own homes, on our own computers. In fact, if we continued to do this horrible thing, we could go to prison. In a perfect world, we, the people, would have stormed the Capitol. We would have demanded the resignation of every single one of these self-righteous hypocrites. Not because gambling's good or bad, because it's none of their business. America was founded and built on that one single principle. We are supposed to be in charge, not them. But the real point of this little rant isn't even what happened to a bunch of poker players. The real point is why it happened. Those poker players lost for a reason. They lost because everybody else shrugged and looked away and ignored the whole thing. They lost because their numbers weren't large enough. They lost because they were standing alone, and that is exactly why we are going to lose unless we change something about the way we're doing this. There's a way we can beat this thing. There's a simple step that can be taken to change the odds and put them in our favor. Why do you think the average police officer can approach touchy situations in confidence? Training and equipment do enter into the equation, but the real reason is much simpler. That officer knows that their gang is bigger than the bad guy's gang. It's that simple. Somebody has their back. They know that somebody's actually waiting to see if they're going to need help. And they know that that help will be on its way the second they even act like that's what they need. One of the greatest strengths of the average conservative is also our greatest weakness, and that is that we are fanatically independent. We're so determined to do everything our way, and we're so convinced that nobody else can get it done quite as well. But the simple truth is that if we could learn to work together, we could win this thing. I'm not talking about giving up your independence. I'm not talking about giving up your control. I'm not talking about taking any authority away from you or your group. In fact, you don't even have to give up your group name if you have one. All I'm talking about is all of us tapping into a mutual, unstoppable, strength in numbers thing. Even if, for instance, you're petitioning a local government to stop something, wouldn't it be great to know that a couple million fellow team members would be willing to sign petitions or send emails? If the world did go to pieces around you and stormtroopers had you surrounded, cornered, outnumbered, it'd be kind of cool to know you got thousands of like-minded patriots on their way to help bail you out. If you did, for instance, suddenly have to bail, it'd be kind of reassuring to know that you have an organized support chain all over the country. If you were trying to get some local politician to change a policy or something, do you think you'd carry more weight as a representative of John's Army with 50 members, or as a representative of John's Army with 50 members, which just happens to be a division of Freedom Walker, which has 10 million members? You see the difference? Some of you have a great amount of expertise in one field or another, and I fully understand being jealously protective of that. You don't want somebody horning in or trying to take over, and that is not the goal here. I'm not looking to take over anything. I'm looking to join forces. The point is, none of us have the same level of expertise in all fields. None of us have all the answers in every area of potential trouble. If your strength, for example, is military preparedness and you suddenly find yourself in court being sued, you're up a creek, because that is not where your strength lies. I have a website, and I'm offering it to be used for getting this started. It can become like a phone bank, a central, a hub, a place for hundreds of separate groups to exchange ideas, suggestions, and even leadership in specific areas. Go to freedomwalker.org and use one of the comment boxes to tell me how this thing might be made to work. Suggest ways to start building connections. Between us, we can design an agreement that'll protect our individual interests and will still allow us to create the strength of numbers. Separately, we're going to lose. Together, we could become an unstoppable force. Give it a shot. What do you got to lose? freedomwalker.org